Good to go?
Yeah.
All right. I'll call the meeting to order and start by acknowledging we're on the homeland of the many diverse First Nations and Métis people who have walked this, or whose ancestors have walked this land since time immemorial. We're grateful to live, learn, and work on the traditional territory of Treaty 8. And with that, we'll move to our agenda. We do have an addition to the agenda that CEO's brought forward, 8.6. And you should have something in front of you. It's regarding the election bylaw, municipal election bylaw.
Do you have a copy of that, Chris?
So item 8.6 is the municipal election bylaw. It's the addition. Anything else?
Hope you have them.
Seeing nothing, can I get a motion to adopt with the one addition? Councillor Dunn.
Step as amended.
Thank you.
All right, all in favor? Just so you can catch it, was Councillor Dunn move the agenda with the one addition of 8.6? And with that, we have our scheduled delegation. Brandon, I'll invite you to come on up. Thanks for coming in. And we do record our meetings, so we ask that you hit that and then just sort of do a quick introduction of who you are and who you represent and why you're here, and then you can get going.
You.
Thank you. Sure.
One for Mr. Clay. I've heard it before, so.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna say.
All right, my name is Freddie McDonald from the High Prairie School Division. I'm the district principal of projects and planning. So a lot of projects such as what we're going to talk about today, hot lunch programs and other things are in my portfolio. So what I'm here for today is a vertical farm for High Prairie School Division housed here at Prairie River. We are looking to create an environment where students are exposed to agriculture at a greater volume than they have ever been. And one of our tasks this year is to build that vertical farm. We do have some of the product coming August 18th, and I can send you pictures of the project and that sort of stuff. But we are asking for some either financial support or in-kind support if you're able to do that. In our description here, the junior and senior high schools will benefit from the program. The high school will benefit with agricultural classes. The junior high classes will be optional classes that they take throughout their time in Prairie River. It's going to give us equitable access to fresh produce right here in High Prairie, grown and made here in High Prairie. It will travel less than 50 kilometers in the total distance to get to the people that have already said yes to purchasing our product. But we're also selling it to the High Prairie public or the local area public on a website with using Marigold as our distribution center. It allows us to grow traditional herbs and spices to promote some of the recipes that we have in our hot lunch program, which will allow for culturally sensitive meals that are grown right in our own facility. It's It's going to be quite amazing how much we can actually provide for our schools and for the community in broad, a nice, fresh produce product. This is phase 2 of a three-phase project. Our first phase was to build living walls in the schools and get the kids growing crops themselves in small quantities. The second phase is the vertical farm, where kids will grow in a very large quantity, upwards of 600 heads of lettuce a week. And then the third phase is to have an actual living farm somewhere near High Prairie that we can get our students to in an easily accessible space to raise actual animals such as cows, pigs, chickens, that sort of stuff. And we would have that taken so that we can take our agricultural project even farther as we go. We started this last year in last September, so we're coming upon a year. We put a deposit down in March of 2025 to get the product delivered to us, coming again August 2025. And our first harvest will be October 2025, the first week of October. So we will be selling and giving away lettuce to organizations around High Prairie, specifically the Food Bank and the Children's Resource Council. The revenue from the produce sales will cover maintenance and supply costs. So what we sell goes back into the business to pay for it, pay the wage of the worker, and all the supplies that we need for the product. There you can see some community partnerships that we do have ready to sign on with us. Some such as Boondocks, Driftpile Travel Center, Ameros, Marigold, the CRC, and some of the local grocery stores are looking to buy from us as well. We've reached out to Falair. They're interested in our product as well. So we're pretty excited about that. There's a little budget summary for what you need, but if you have any questions, you can ask me what any expenses that you would like. But I also added on to the back of the document a 10-year projection of the finances of what is going to occur at the vertical farm. So you can ask me questions about that as well. And the nice thing is that we've set it up so that we can expand this project if it takes off as well as it could, allowing us to grow 2 more units connected to a hub central that will help us maintain and keep the integrity of the program going as well. Are there any questions?
Sure, where are you gonna put this?
It's going right behind Prairie River. I don't know if you know Prairie River, the layout very well, but there's that white portable device there. It's going right behind that.
Oh, okay. And so it's a separate building
It's a separate building altogether, yeah.
Okay.
It's a seat can that's about 20 feet wide and 40 feet long. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and you had mentioned that you were looking for a financial contribution or an in-kind contribution. What are you looking for there more specifically in terms of financial and or in-kind? What were you thinking I might be able to do?
in kind, I was thinking abatement of our tax valuation for Prairie River to not change for 5 years, if that's possible. And or a reduction in rate for the High Prairie Town utility bill. Or upwards of financial installment payment of $20,000.
Okay. Councillor Tanaka.
Is this part, is this part of the hydroponic that the Buchanan Family Foundation
Yes.
donated to?
Yes,
So is that included in your budget, what they donated?
not the donations. I can get you the donations if you'd like some. if you'd like the list of donations that we do have, I can get you that list, and I can send it to the office here.
Sure, that'd be great.
Go ahead, Councillor Stenhouse.
So I'm trying to picture this, Brennan.
Yeah.
And I'd like a couple definitions defined. Because in your opening statements, you say that you want to do traditional farming. Hydroponics is not traditional.
It's a form of farming that is now, growing at a rate that is almost immeasurable. Because local rural places in the north like us can't do all your farming, and that causes shortages and other limitations to our farm world. This allows us to show students what it's like to grow something from seed to stock, and give them the opportunity to know how to take care of a plant, which is the basis of every agricultural program that we've ever had. And it's also gives us the ability to let students experience the business side of farming as well, not just the growing. We can all remember growing a pea pod in a cup in your school class. We can all remember doing that. But what do we gain from that? Like, what's the purpose of that? Okay, so I got one pea out of it. That's great. But now the kids can see, okay, I planted 600 heads of lettuce this week. In 4 weeks, that's going to be, what am I doing with that? Like, I have to sell it. I have to, that whole process. So this allows us to contain the farming in an environment that is easily controlled and allows for maximum student input into it as well.
So this is all out of curiosity. Have you spoken with Christie's Greenhouse? Because to me, when Christie's Greenhouse was going to be built, that was, now I don't know if this is rumor or fact, but that was supposed to be what they wanted to do, was to produce produce year round, and it never came to.
I am partnering with Christie's Greenhouse. She's actually one of the people that will be learning the program as we go. She's helped us identify organizations that we need to be part of to help us get better prepared for what's going on, that sort of stuff. But yes, we have partnered with her.
And 4-H, this kind of looks like your model looks like it's following 4-H, where they do agriculture, cattle, that they're taught how to raise their animals.
4-H is separate from schools, and we don't touch it because of the costs and stuff that are associated with 4-H. That sort of stuff, the feeding of the animal, the buying of the animal, then they get whatever profit they make off of it.
Yeah.
But we have a green certificate program, and we have the agricultural programs in high school that kids can benefit from this program at no cost to them. So it's covered by the school division, which is not, and that cost is not being downloaded into the development of the farm. That's just something that that's the reason that we did this, is so that kids can learn and gain those certificates, which can then be put on their resumes and make them more employable after they're done.
So just one more question. You say the local grocery stores, that the Falher grocery stores are willing to participate. Did you not approach our High Prairie stores, or they're not willing?
No, I did approach them. I'm still in talks with IGA. We're just covering up liability issues and stuff like that. And wholesales we're just in the initial discussion of that conversation.
Okay, great, thank you.
Councillor Martins.
Brendan, nice to meet you. Thank you for coming in and sharing this idea. So I love the fact that students will understand economic measures of farming and also practical applications and stewardship of growing and face the animal husbandry. I have several questions for you. In a previous role, I came across a lot of this this type of farming here in the north, and companies were willing to add solar to it to minimize the utility absorption. So on that note, I want to know if there's anything there that you're collaborating with.
We're talking to the company that's building the unit. It's an expansion that we just weren't able to afford at this time. But we are looking at adding it as part of an add-on that we can do later on. So
Okay, and do you envision, I wasn't able to study that, the text is fairly minute on your spreadsheet. So what are some of the utility absorptions? Like how much do you think that some of that, will go up? Water consumption, electricity?
water consumption is minimal. You have to fill up our tank twice a year.
Okay,
And that's a 600-liter tank. So 1,200 liters added on to the bill throughout the year is about it. The power consumption is very minimal as it's a self-contained device that can generate its own heat. It can generate like it reuses a lot of the materials that are in the farm as it goes on. So it's very minimal. I'm just trying to look to see where. Like when I look at that, that's well into. That's an increase of about $500 a month for us on the bills. But again, our revenue from the selling of the lettuce should cover the cost of that.
so, the businesses you approach are planning to purchase the produce, correct?
Yeah.
So then do you expect a very short-term process by which operational costs will be covered and not rely on, let's say, tax funding or supplementation from the town?
There's very little, once it's up and running, we should be self-sufficient if we can sell all of our produce at the start. Now, of course, it'll take a couple months to get the name out there, to get everything ready to go at 100% capacity. But we're hoping that because we've done this initiative, the Canadian government has given us some funding to help us with human resources for a couple of years. So that should offset that cost of the worker as well, which is our biggest cost. It really is. We don't have to have the same expenses where it says marketing, communications. We can reduce stuff there because we have a communications officer that will do a lot of the programming and mentoring for us that way. What else? And then, like I said, everything else should be reduced by the revenue that we bring in from the product.
Okay, and finally, I'm wondering about what metrics you're going to use as success measures. Is it just the economics of it?
No.
And with that, what lessons did you learn from phase one? When you did your living wall?
Yeah.
Have a good harvest?
Phase one, I learned that I can't just put it in there. I need to put the product in place. I have to actually build a unit of people that are willing to work with what we have to work with. So that's a great question. One of the things that we've done is we've, for success indicators, is identified how many kids are enrolled in agricultural classes in the next few years, and the credits that are awarded for that. Kids that are doing dual credit in agriculture as well. We already have this established for EW Pratt this year with one class starting off right semester 1, block 2. It's ready to go. We have 20 kids enrolled in it already, which is already an increase from the 8 that we had prior to that. So that's a success indicator. There is, of course, the economic indicator that if we're able to pay off our loan in a faster rate, then we'll be happy that way. Also, the amount of people that we reach with our product. offering 600 heads of lettuce a week means we can reach 600 either families or businesses or communities out there. And so we're going to see how much product we're giving away at the end of the year or at the end of the week when we are ready to go. We want to make donations to both the Children's Resource Council and the food bank and make sure that they have the facilities to store the product as well. So we plan to put this down fridges that they can hold and maintain the product for a longer lasting use. But that's kind of where we're hoping to be like.
So this is just an offshoot. Are there any corollary plans to like, market or pickle or can some of the produce and you could teach kids some of those old fashioned, old fashioned, but very, very valuable?
To be honestly true, I've been kind of just trying to get this off the ground, but I do see us trying to do things like that where we grow our own dill and then have a home ec class learn how to can and stuff like that, and they get those credits for their high school that way as well. But there are things that are in the works of that. For example, some of the lettuce will go to our hot lunch program so that the kids can make a Caesar salad out of stuff that's being literally walked over to their store or to their restaurant and given that chance.
Thank you so much. All the best with the closer.
Councillor Shisha.
Sounds very interesting. You have me riveted to my seat. Awesome for kids to learn. Absolutely. I'm quite big on growing things myself. So it's it's not only providing, but it's providing for oneself.
Yeah.
With doing that as well. And you probably have it here and I can't see. Is it you're starting out with the leafy?
Yeah, we're starting off with romaine lettuce and spinach.
And spinach.
Yeah.
And I guess my next question was actually answered already. I was like, if you're looking at expanding a little bit more in that.
Yeah, we hope to get another unit within 2 years so that we can grow strawberries. So that in December, High Prairie can have fresh strawberries that didn't have to travel on a truck or anything like that. And you can get them at your local grocery store or pick them up on your website and stuff like that. That's one of the things that we were really interested in doing. It takes a little bit longer to grow and that's why we can't start with it, but it is something that we are looking at.
Great, thank you.
Councillor Wakel.
I really like the idea of affordable strawberries in the middle of winter, so I'm all for that. And as far as growing dill, it's called dill weed, so it's easy to grow. It'll just grow on its own. What other thing, you're starting with the leafy stuff, the spinach, the lettuce. What other things are you gonna throw potatoes in there? Are you gonna, as it goes on, or
We're gonna
carrots?
try tomatoes.
Okay,
We're gonna do arugula, kale. And that the head lettuce, the one that looks the living lettuce, or that's what it's called.
okay, yeah.
That sort of stuff. Potatoes are a little out of our realm. We don't have the facility for it, but
Okay,
but it is something that we are looking at when we go to phase 3, is having a planted garden that we can do that sort of stuff with.
and phase 3, that's when you're gonna be looking at getting the critters and stuff like that. Have you approached any of the farmers around here yet to see, to plant the seed in their head to see if it's something they'd be willing to do, or?
I've talked to a few, land is precious. I've approached a few, one of the barriers that we have is that students only have so much time in a block of day. And if we have to travel 10, 15 minutes both ways, that cuts that class pretty significantly in half. Yeah, so we're trying to find something that we could do a little more closer.
Have other high schools done this in Alberta?
Yeah, there's one in Fort Vermilion, actually. Brian and I were just talking about that. And I believe it's called Altero, is the name of the school. That's what we're kind of modeling our school after, is that program. So they started with indoor farms, and then went to a vertical farm that they established. And they have a full functioning now, living farm as well. So we're the furthest north that it's been, so.
Well, it's a great idea. The boy would have absolutely loved this, so
Yes.
I'm sure there's other kids that are gonna enjoy it just as much, so all the best.
Thanks.
So just so that you know, our process, Brennan, is, council won't make any decisions tonight. It'll show up at a future council meeting where we'll discuss the specifics. But I think, your ask, just so I'm clear, is, if it's financial up to $20,000 or more, I suppose too, but that's and the in-kind was tax break and or a reduction in utilities to help with that over a period of time. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so we've got that, and if our CEO has any questions when he's putting the request for a decision to council at a future meeting, he can give you a call to clarify stuff.
And I'll send the donation that I've already received list to you guys as well, so that you can see that as well.
Yeah, send whatever and make sure you send an email, cao@highprairie.ca. And I'll try to get the report in for the next council meeting.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming in. That's a very interesting idea. I think it's a great idea because I do know that they enjoy it in the Fort Vermilion School Division.
Yeah, it's a big hit, so.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much.
All right. Move on in our agenda. I should ask any public delegation? No, okay. Moving on then to our minutes. Can I get a motion for our August 12th meeting minutes?
August 12th.
Oh, sorry. I looked on my form and I went that, sorry, our July 8th. Councillor Dunn.
That council approved the minutes from the July 8th, 2025 regular meeting of council as presented.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Stenops.
So I am opposed to these meeting minutes. If you go to agenda item 15, upcoming meetings, Tuesday, July 22nd was canceled, and then it lists August 12th and August 26th. Nowhere was the July 15th meeting mentioned. And I also have a question about 17.1. There was an in-camera session, as I didn't attend this meeting. There is no indication of what this was all about. You went in, you went out, but there is nothing.
Okay, sorry, I just want to go back to 15.
Yeah.
Can you bring me, what's your issue there? What do you?
This will be coming up later in the agenda, but I could start it now. I was uninformed about a special meeting on July 15th. I was not given any indication that there was a meeting. The minutes don't reflect that there was a meeting scheduled. The last meeting I attended was June 24th, and you guys were only supposed to have a meeting on July the 8th, and all other meetings would be canceled for the month of July.
I do remember that we had the meeting to discuss when we were like the 15th date. And I believe, I can't remember exactly when that was discussed, but I thought it was discussed with all of council. And the 15th was the date.
So I have June 24th agenda in front of me, and it's not in there either. As
Okay.
when it comes to that, to the July 15th, we can have a bigger discussion on that.
Yeah, and I know we had the chat and I know Counselor Martin was here and that was the date that she could make it because we were looking at other dates, but so I know we discussed it.
I believe it was at the previous council meeting, was that, because we were all here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so,
I
but we'll
have
get-
the agenda in front of me and there is no reflection of a July 15th meeting.
I'll let Counselor Martin speak.
So you are correct, Councillor Stenhouse, and that's because we did discuss it. However, we discussed it after our meeting was adjourned. So that's why it's not reflected in the minutes, because our meeting was adjourned. We discussed it, we picked a date. I asked that I pick a date that we're all available, and the date was picked. And then a day before, well, more than a day, I guess 20 some odd hours, 28 hours prior, there was a notice that was sent out. So that's why it's not reflected in these minutes. It's because the discussion happened here in council chambers, but after the meeting was adjourned. And you had, once the meeting was adjourned, you had sat out, and that's why.
Okay, so can we address 17.1? What was this in concern of? We had another in-camera meeting and there's no indication of what this was about.
To your point, though, we can just finish on that
Okay.
one thing. We missed either sending out a notification that day, because not all the council was present, i.e. you. I don't know how else we could have rectified it, because you're right, it was done informally.
We still have more to say when it comes up in the agenda.
And in regards to what was the confidential item, it was regarding personnel.
Okay, so if we go back how many months, we've been having these in-camera personnel and there's no, I remember sending an email or we discussed it, that we would give some indication of what was discussed. There is no indication here of what was discussed.
Personnel.
All right. Continue on then. But I am opposed and I want a recorded vote on this.
Okay, any other errors or omissions, concerns with the minutes? Right, all in favor? Opposed? It is carried. Moving on to our July 15th minutes, a motion on this. So on page 17,
Oh, sorry.
that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. I'll move we accept as presented.
Okay. Counselor Stenhouse,
Okay, as indicated, I want the records changed. I was not absent. I was uninformed of this meeting. So this is how what happened was, at the last meeting that I attended, which was June 24th, there was not supposed to be any meetings but the July 8th. I got it, then I got an email. No, then I was informed that there was going to be all of a sudden a special meeting. I asked if it was time sensitive as I wasn't available because I hadn't planned for it. You were going to have this meeting. Then I received an email from a lawyer that said this meeting will not take place. That is all I know. I assumed this meeting would not take place. Obviously, you guys had this meeting without me, and I was uninformed about it. As I say, I want these records corrected. I was not absent. I was uninformed. No one called me, emailed me, said this meeting was going to take place no matter what? And why does this meeting have an indication on it when you went in camera of what was discussed? And all the other meetings don't,
Because a motion was made coming out of the camera.
okay? So how long did this meeting last?
About an hour and a half.
Started at 6, ended at 7:24.
Well, if you look at the timesheets, Donna left at 7:20. Martin's left at 7:22. Panasik left at 8 o'clock. And Therese left at 8:30. And I don't know, Jonathan, it says you attended, but your timesheet isn't included in here.
It really doesn't matter what the timesheet says, because if it's less than 4 hours, it's $100, right? The minutes indicate that the meeting was an hour and 24 minutes long. That's how long the meeting was, right? The timesheet, if you put down that you were here for 4 hours, you're only gonna get $100. It would be different if we were paid per hour, but we're not. We're paid per 4-hour block up to a maximum of 2. So that's the way I've always looked at it. Time of the meeting, about 7:30, right? 6 to 7:30, whatever. It's $100. If you want to put the 7:24, it's $100. It
So
doesn't
then how
change.
come someone here after the meeting then?
I can't get into my service.
But
Sometimes when you're filling it out afterwards, how long was the meeting? Oh, I don't know. It doesn't matter because it was only,
It's under 4 hours.
yeah.
so, and my last comment is, as an elected official, you guys made this decision. You did a CAO review. We do that on a yearly basis. Why was it done 5.5 months into it? And the contract changed without any input from me.
It wasn't necessarily a CAO review,
Okay, so
but
what does the motion read then?
I can't know what the. Where do you see CAO review?
I don't see it, but
It's
so
personnel.
you just pulled it up. So you just pulled it, you didn't review anything? You just said, okay, let's just change this contract?
No,
You must review.
no, we had lots of discussions. We weren't, this isn't, because we were in camera, we're not talking about exactly what we talked about in that meeting.
So it was a review then?
It wasn't a review,
Okay.
no.
So,
And I mean, I'm not sure why, other than, I'm sure that the meeting was, I know you had tried to attend, you were gonna try to attend online and didn't join in. And so I knew you were, so I know you knew about it, in 24 hours in advance, which is sort of the minimum that you need to get, right? So you did know about it. It was there, you knew about it, you couldn't make it. We didn't want to wait for it. As far as the notice from a lawyer and stuff, I did respond to everybody that this meeting was still going to proceed. So, I mean, that part is out there. Everybody knew it was going ahead. It wasn't a surprise that it was going ahead.
it was a surprise to me.
And I'm not sure why, but
I seen your response, but nowhere did it say this meeting is going ahead no matter what.
I did say that this meeting was going ahead. Councillor Martins?
The only point I can make, Councillor Stenhouse, is that I do agree that the CAO is the employee of all of council, and I think that for pertinent decisions where, it deals with a CAO decision, that all of council be present. I can say that. I did not have correspondence with you, so I didn't know if you were attending, not attending, or, the mayor says that you indicated to him, but yeah, you should, it would have been nice for you to be present, given that the CEO is the employee of all of council.
Councillor Dunn?
I believe, Mayor, that you did try to call that evening even to try to get hold of you. So I'm going, you had the opportunity to read what the mayor had put out. You could have phoned to clarify if you were uncertain about what he was saying. But the rest of us showed up because we saw what he put out and we said, the meeting's on. We were there. And so that's the thing. Like you can put your blame on everybody else, but the reality is you had the same opportunities we did within 24 hours. And whatever was happening for you, you didn't follow through with taking the opportunity to talk to you and ask him, why is this, what's going on? Because I did. I phoned. I said, I see this thing from a lawyer saying we're not going to be having a meeting. What's the scoop? So you could have done the same thing.
John, I don't have a government job where I can make phone calls and write emails during my work hours.
Well, then council doesn't work for you then.
Okay, yeah, it's unfortunate that you weren't able to be there, but it was an issue that we had to deal with. It had been ongoing for quite a few months, actually, so that's why we went ahead with it. But, so back to the meeting minutes, anything else in there?
Want to record a vote?
Councillor Martins?
I don't think that is a very fair comment, Councillor Eustiston, that council does not work for you then, because I'll give you the example of MP years, and when someone looks at a calendar, I plan my meetings very carefully. Previous to this, I had 100% attendance record, and I like to keep it that way. I try to move my life around big things that are happening. I knew about Bearson only after the fact, after we had, plans and I was out of the province. Similar to this, if a person is working, not all jobs are Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. And we just had a council session for prospective councillors, and it was very clear that it has to work for all. This is a big decision. We've made big decisions like this in previous years, and I remember getting phone calls and text messages. That has waned considerably. And it is not true, Councillor Dunn, that we all had 24 hours notice. We all had weeks of notice. Councillor Stenhouse did not, again, because of the fact that we were all present while we made decisions outside of an adjourned meeting. So that needs to be taken. And perhaps had she known 2 weeks in advance, she would have taken on whatever it is that she took on. I just want to make that clear. I don't think that's a very fair comment to say, well, then council doesn't work for you.
I don't think it's a very fair comment to say, oh, you work for the government, you get to do what you want to do. It's not true. And it's the same. So you're going to MP Pearson. I planned to attend that. You know what? I ended up getting called out to do something in my job that would not allow me to do that. So when people make statements about, oh, you got a government job, you get to do what you want to do, come and work with me 24 hours and we'll see.
So hold on, we're way off topic here. We're dealing with some meeting minutes, and there's an issue saying, well, I wasn't absent, but you were. So I think it's fair to say you were absent. You weren't there.
I was uninformed.
Well, you might have been uninformed as why you were absent, but we can't say you were there, right?
So why can't the record show that I did not
you did
attend
have
because
a
I
link.
was uninformed?
You did have a link. You did have the emails that was going ahead, like the meeting invite was sent out.
No, there was no, well, you know what? There was no meeting invite sent to me, not that I recall. But I could not check my emails until after 7 PM also.
And I did leave a message on your phone you could join in, and as soon as you were free, to call me. But you didn't call in either.
So I have to rearrange my life, leave my work to accommodate a meeting that just showed up within 24 hours.
But it didn't show up within 24 hours. We got the notice, I believe, even the next day after we made that. You know, and I thought we'd actually made that decision with everybody here. I could be wrong, I often am, but I thought that, you know, and regardless, the notice was sent out.
And so, somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm thinking actually that Councillor Tanaka told us all in our July 8th meeting. July 15th, don't forget July 15th. Am I not correct?
I believe so, because Brian even forgot about that.
Yes.
Right, and Councillor Stanhope.
I
was not
wasn't at
present.
that meeting.
Yeah, and you forgot about it because you're right, I did hear that because I was attending, because it was not mentioned, like there was no notice sent out until the day before.
I'm not sure if there's any other ways to proceed, like you want to say Councillor Stenhouse was uninformed, like in brackets behind it?
Yeah,
Okay, but I don't have a problem with saying, yeah, you were absent, you can say was not aware of the meeting. We can leave it at that. Would you be happy with that?
yeah.
Is there any objections to put something like that in there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Because the emails went out. We all had that email. We all knew that meeting was happening.
The last email I received was from a lawyer that said this email was not taking place.
You got my email too, you said.
Yes, but there was no indication that it was going forward.
The email was very clear that this meeting was proceeding regardless.
I'm pretty sure that was the entire email.
It was, the meeting is going to proceed. So I don't know how it was misinterpreted. But it doesn't much matter. I mean, you weren't there, you weren't there. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand that if you didn't hear about it the first time, I can see why you didn't get it, but.
And how did the lawyer happen to know that there was a meeting happening and didn't want it to happen?
Well,
Like
I would
whose
say-
lawyer was that?
Well, we won't go into all of that.
Anyway,
So anyways, we've got the meeting minutes, the suggestions, do we put in something else saying was uninformed of the meeting in brackets after the name, or just leave it as absent?
Just keep it.
What do the others say?
Just leave it.
Leave it. Any other thoughts? I hear leave it then. Okay, so we got and the motion was made by Councillor Dunn. I didn't write this one down. Yeah, it's a long time ago now. Was it your
Actually,
motion? Oh, it was,
Yeah,
who made the motion, Wendy?
James did.
James?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's up to him what he wants to put in that.
please,
Okay, so it's moving
accept
the,
as presented.
as presented, we've had a request for it to be a recorded vote.
Yep.
All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Moving on to business arising from the last minute. One of the issues was town-owned infill lots. Get a motion on this. I'll make the motion that council approves the following incentives to encourage infill development. And that would be graduated municipal taxes from 0, 25%, 50%, 75%, then 100. So the same as we talked about for the multi-unit properties. So that's my motion. And start with some discussion with that.
So what were your incentives?
Well, we had reduced municipal taxes so that in year one, you pay 0% municipal taxes. You still have to pay the education portion and the seniors housing portion.
Yeah.
But you do get a break on your municipal taxes in year one. Year two, you pay 25% of your municipal taxes. Year three, you pay 50%. Year four, 75%. And by year five, you're paying all of your taxes. And I think this is when, I know when this RFD said, in about 5 to 10 year, or closer to 8, when I did some calculations, is depending on what the value is, as you would start to recover your money and you'd be back even. And for me, this is a good incentive because it incentivizes people to build new homes and get rid of some of the old run-down homes and build in town, so we don't have to have a bigger footprint. We're consolidating our footprint. We're having neighborhoods improved, and so I think it's a good incentive to help get people to build some new houses where old run-down houses exist. So, Councillor Stenhouse.
So I question, the last sentence in the first paragraph, that it says, if all of these properties were developed with residential properties, the increase would be 21,000. So I know what I pay for taxes. And, my whole neighborhood, and there's a few other neighborhoods that are paying between the $4,000 to $5,000 yearly taxes. So at $4,000, there would be an increase of 56,000, and at $5,000, it'd be an increase of 70,000. So I question this figure of 21,235 increase.
I mean, that's a good question. I base this off vacant lots, so it's a minimum 21,000. If they build something, and I don't know what they're going to build, so I want it to be conservative, because I don't know whether it's going to be a multiplex, or single residence, or a fancy single residence. So I just took what's in our records right now and presented that as a number to work with, but everything else would be picking a number out of the sky. So at least I have supporting documentation for the 21,235.
So 21,000 is just vacant, they haven't done
vacant.
anything to it.
So it could be more, so. And I didn't know, if we're going to just keep with the graduated municipal tax incentive, or add something like a grant or a discount on the price of the land after 2 years if they built their building. So I had contemplated throwing out a higher number, but I thought it's best to keep it conservative.
This is, it's not really related to infill development. This is related to what we did with listing our properties that the town owns. So it's really not what's the word, applicable in terms of infill development.
Yeah.
But you're going back, you weren't in our discussion when we were talking about, what we want to do with the town-owned lands, and we did decide to sell them and try to sell them. And basically what he's saying is that right now, those 14 properties, the taxes on them would be roughly $21,000, right? And so if it was put over to somebody else, that would be the minimum we'd get if they didn't develop it.
Which brings me to my next question. With your motion, does that include that they must develop within 2 years?
Well, no. It would be from when they would start because, or when they identify it, because you could buy an old property today and then you might develop it in, you might plan on renting it and decide in 3-4 years that you want to build a new home on it. You see what I'm saying?
I do, but you don't understand what I'm saying. So this is an empty lot that we're gonna sell.
No. What I'm proposing is infill. On this property is an old rundown house.
Okay,
If you want to knock that house down and rebuild a house on it, a new house, that's when you would qualify for an infill development.
oh, okay, okay.
When you're talking about the time restrictions for a vacant lot, if they want to get the tax deduction for a vacant lot, then yes, they have to build within 2 years. That's one of the conditions. But this is a different animal here.
Okay. This is technically infill now.
That's what this is, because we passed the other one for multi-unit dwellings last meeting, but we did want to talk about infill development and what other incentives we might offer, and there are some other ones, but I think just the municipal tax one is a good incentive, and it's simple and easy to follow through, and I don't think we would need more than that, in my opinion.
No, I'm still confused. Because when the CAO stated that the 21,000 come from a vacant lot. So we're not drawing it's a vacant lot, but you're talking infill.
If, for my sake, if you just remove this first paragraph, it might make way more sense. It shouldn't really be in this RFP because it's not applicable to infill development. This first paragraph, it was more applicable to last meeting when we were talking about what we want to do with the vacant land that the town owns. So we made the motion, actually, I think that was a couple of meetings ago, to go ahead and list them.
No, you're gonna have to remove the second paragraph too, because it says most of these brownfield properties have been vacant for many years.
You're right. You're absolutely right. In my opinion, that's not really applicable to infill development. Councilor Martins?
Are you done? with the
Yeah.
questions? Okay, so I think that our priority is multi-unit developments, and I think that we should tier our incentives to benefit any developer, coming in to put up a multi-unit dwelling. So I'm not necessarily in favor of supporting the exact same incentive for individual residences as I am multi-unit. I mean, that's how you incentivize that. I think that there should be a tiered approach where multi-units, which is just my thinking alone, that multi-units, because we want them more, that's where we give the highest incentive. And we actually amended instead of the CEO's proposal of, like, I think it was 4-year, we made it 5 years, and we even made the first year 0. So great, we want to encourage multi-unit developments, because that's our need. And I do agree that gentrifying and cleaning up our town is great, so I'm in favor of an infill incentive. But someone just purchasing it at a cost, and then my second question is if I can purchase an infill, something that needs to be torn down and sit with it for 5 years, when does this kick in? Are we going to grandfather this into, what's the wording that tells me I have X amount of time? So let's say I purchase this infill and I sit with it, and in 5 years I come to the office and I say, hey, remember that incentive you guys motion we passed? Now from this point forward, I'm going to start tearing it down. So I want the 5-year tax incentive. Like, what are the parameters and the legalese that we're going to put around it to say it needs to be availed of today or tomorrow? What is that language?
Well, yeah,
Says purchased land must be built on, project completed within 2 years.
Yeah, well, we just
But I
asked that
asked
question.
that,
We
and
just
he
asked
said
that
no,
question.
that doesn't apply to this.
I thought that was part of it.
and we could make it that. I'm just saying that if you're buying a one and your intention is to apply for this, you could do it. But the other way I'm looking at it is you might buy a property and be living in it and then decide you want a new one, and that might be 5 years later. Now, this incentive might be gone in 2 years. So if you haven't taken advantage of it, it could be gone.
No,
You have to make sure that it's gonna be around when you want to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I would say. You can waive our incentive and build when you choose to build.
Yeah.
But you then can't come back and say, I want part of that incentive.
Yeah, but that's part of this discussion. We don't currently have an expiration point. That's why I'm asking the question, because it's not in here. There is no 2 years, we don't expire anything. And I still believe that multi-units should get the most preferred tier, and we make these a 4-year sequence as was suggested in that last motion, last RFD. But I'm open to other thoughts.
Councillor Daneko.
So this RFD is a bit confusing. Yes, Councillor Stenhouse has brought up and Councillor. Because you're talking infill. And then at the July 8th council meeting, council directed to put in place and advertise market following incentives for businesses and developers. So we're now this is involving businesses. Are we giving them that same benefit? Because you're talking infill, now this is economic development to bring, somebody buys a lot and gonna put up a business, are we giving them the 0 to 5 years?
I wasn't thinking, building a business in my head.
Well, that's what I mean, this is very confusing as to exactly what we're talking about. Because you're talking one thing, infill, the RFP is talking vacant land, plus businesses to get them to build. So I'm not sure exactly what.
Well, and this is just my interpretation, and maybe you could clarify it, but I believe that a developer could be considered a business, right? Like a lot of developers, they're in the business of developing. So that's a business that you're coming in to build a multi-unit complex. And Councillor Waco.
Why don't we send this back to administration, clean it up a little bit, so it's all straight, and instead of us all trying to wrap our heads around it, because it's still in front of us and twists my mind too, when I'm reading it, like, but it's there. So let's, I would propose that we send this back to administration for retooling and bring it back to our next meeting in a month. Because we want to get this right.
Well, that's what I thought we had done last one, because we had discussed this as a possible incentive at the last one and said, please bring it back with infill development. And it's back here with other options, right? Like the other options And maybe we can discuss those a little, is saying, you know, and we've heard from Councillor Martin saying, yeah, multi-unit dwellings are the priority. So therefore, we shouldn't encourage this to as high of a level. And that's an option. My mind, it's still an important part of our town, so for me, it's just my thing. I'm okay with giving up the same incentive, but you know, there's some good questions around what would it look like? Is it, you have to do it when you buy it, or is there a certain time frame? But if you've owned it for the last 10 years and now this incentive comes in and it's enough for you to say, okay, I want to knock down this house and build another one now, even though they haven't bought it, I would be okay with them doing it then. It hasn't been just purchased. But once they start and they want to in on this program, that's when they have to start building within 2 years, yeah. So once they say, I'm going to take advantage of it, then they have to start. Councillor Stenhouse.
But weren't we trying to eliminate buying up lots and land and sitting on it also? So that's
Yes.
why this does seem too open-ended that, well, I could still buy it and sit on it. We don't want that to happen.
Well, we also, in our last meeting, asked them to look into a vacant land tax where you're not doing anything with vacant land, so that it would hopefully spur on some development. So I think that was the avenue to prevent somebody just sitting on it. Anybody with an old rundown house is likely going to be renting it out to make some revenue on it, right? And again, I know we talked about trying to get these older rundown houses, cleaned up and some new ones in the neighborhood to increase the value in those neighborhoods. And some of the houses we had, a representative come in here and say the town looks run down, and some of it's those old rundown houses that are there.
The week before I went on vacation, my priority was to get these 14 town-owned lots on the market. And so my thinking when I was writing this, and I think I've misinterpreted between infill and brownfield. But I think it's valid that, okay, I'll come back, administration will come back and refocus this RFD and eliminate the confusion here. But at the time, it took a lot of time the week before my vacation to get everything organized for the real estate firms to get these lots on the market. And my interpretation at that time of infill was any vacant land. And I wasn't necessarily thinking brownfield where there'd be a house on it and then we tear it down. But my apologies for that.
Okay, so with that in mind, will withdraw my previous motion and make a motion that administration comes back to council with options for infill development only. All in favor? Opposed? Oh, didn't see Teresa. You were, okay, sorry, I did see it. All right, so moving on then to item 8.1, terms of reference for the JRC. Can I get a motion on this?
I'll move the council approves changes made to the Truck Recreation Committee terms of reference document.
This was just a cleanup of the terms of reference, pretty mild changes. Very minor changes, but just cleaning up the language and the capitalization and other things that
You and Parker went through this together, right? Parker, Dave Parker from the.
Dave
Reynolds.
Yeah.
David Reynolds.
Oh, yes. Too many Dave's.
Yeah.
Dave's not here, man.
Or
Yeah.
David Blotnick.
The committee did, and, yeah,
Yeah,
recreation
Yeah.
committee went all through this.
yeah, yes, we did.
Anything else on this? Questions, comments? Counselor Danaka?
I just have a question. The purpose of the joint rec committee is to budget process and approve submissions to the town, the operating capital budget, et cetera, et cetera. Now, to me, being that there's this rec committee, if somebody is, let's say, as an example, the Dolphins wanted, they requested a reduction or whatever for the use of their facility. Why does that have to come to council? Why can't those decisions be decided by the rec committee?
And maybe I can try and answer it, and then we can have others on the committee can correct me on mine. But my interpretation of it, and we had this discussion around the recreation committee table, was that it is involved with both councils, and it is a money item, so having two councillors speak on behalf of a council in terms of budget decisions wasn't the right thing to do. That it should go, if there's budgetary decisions of giving a break to somebody, it should go to both councils, because both councils' budgets are impacted. And then we started talking about, well, maybe we could say anything under X amount was, didn't have to go to both councils. And only bigger items should go. And we just said, we'll leave it that any changes to the budget go, and that was where we were at. Is that safe to say?
That's perfect.
Councillor Stenhouse?
And Donna, if you recall, we just got rid of the rec committee board and absorbed it under the town. What you're talking about is bringing the same thing back, and we got rid of that. That's why it has to come to council.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? So we have a motion to adopt these terms of reference, all in favor? It's carried. Golf user or golf simulator user fee. Motion on this one, Councillor Dunn.
The town council direct administration to approve the $32 plus GST hourly rate for the golf simulator.
Okay, put it on the floor. See. Councillor Danaka.
So how many simulators do we have?
One.
One. Okay. So in the RFD, the hourly rate plus GST is a rate in Slave Lake. The Slave Lake one is, I believe, called the Caddy Shack, and it's their business. That's all they do. So I'm looking at this, and there's some things that that aren't mentioned in here that maybe have been in terms of are we renting clubs? Does that come with that? You have to bring your own clubs. Okay. So I'm thinking, as a business, the Caddy Shack charges $32 for 9 holes, and then if you want 18 holes,
No, it's an hourly rate.
and this is an hourly
It's an
rate.
hourly rate.
Okay, yeah. So my question is, at $32, so I go golf and I pay $32. I take my nephew, who's under 12, and he's gonna golf after me, and I gotta pay $32 for him.
No, this is a 32 hour or $32 per hour for the booth. So you could have 4 golfers during that hour
Okay,
and it's $32. So if you have 4 golfers,
Okay.
it'd be $8 each.
okay. I misunderstood because I thought it was like, you get this for an hour and then somebody else gets it for an hour.
No. Well, yeah, you book
Right.
it for an hour.
Right.
Yeah.
But I thought it was individual, like not, you could have like a tournament that you could have in an hour with 5, 6 people.
Yeah, you can have 4 people on at a time and you
Okay.
could book 3 hours if you wanted to do 18 holes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Counselor Stamos?
So if this motion is passed, should it not go to our fees by law and that be amended in our fees? Because that's where it states the price of our swimming pool, the ice rink, all that.
And the user fees will all be updated ahead of the operating budget for 2026. But in the meantime, we're informing, we want to open this up come September, I believe. When I originally heard about the golf simulators, I'm thinking, okay, could be good. But we went there this week. Was it this week?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
this week. I was impressed and it's going to create a lot of interest because it's connected to your iPhone and programming, reports, and shows every statistic you could want and help people improve from one day to the next. Very impressive. So the 32 is very cheap. It'll create interest. And we will look at increasing fees later. But right now, we want the public to really take hold of this and go forward with it.
It's amazing,
It's
actually.
amazing.
It's the ultimate video game, what it amounts to,
Yeah.
really. And you can download any golf course, because we asked, when we put Augusta on there, we put Sawgrass, St. Andrews, and you can. Right now, there's only a couple on there because they have the hotspot. That's the delay, is we're waiting on the internet to get wired into it properly. But I think once that part's done, we can open it up. The plan is to have an open house where everybody can sign up. And the idea was, sign up and then play a hole just so you can kind of get the feel for how it all works and then start booking your time. I've told a couple of people that this is coming and they're like very excited. So I believe that this is going to catch on, especially in winter, because there's some very avid golfers in our area who bemoan the snow.
And I'll just add a little bit to sort of the selling features of it, because you've done a good job. But like I say, when we were in there looking at it, it tells you your swing speed. It tells you where on the golf club that you hit the ball. It shows you if your ball is slicing or hooking. It tells you how far it went. Like, it gives you all of that data, tells you the spin rate on the ball and stuff that you don't get when you go to the driving range. So if you're trying to improve your swing, some of those statistics, I could see people going there and just practicing hitting balls so that they can improve their swing, because you now got some good feedback on, okay, I'm hitting the ball consistently off the heel or off the toe, or it's teed too high. And because when you're out there swinging, you don't necessarily know what you're doing wrong.
And you're playing the best golf courses in the world.
Yes, you're playing golf courses you couldn't afford to go to any other time, right? So, yeah. And it's not just, these exotic ones. There was some, more or less local ones with Jasper and Banff. And so it's very cool. And like I say, because this is just getting started and there's going to be bugs, with how we're going to, what happens if the machine has a glitch and how are they gonna get there to fix it? And what are gonna be those kinds of bugs that might come up. We wanted to have a lower rate as, an introductory rate to get people interested, but also not to charge too much as to scare them off in the future and go, well, that's a ripoff. Because if you're only paying $32 for an hour, if there's some glitches, I suspect that this will be coming back and saying we want to raise this for the next budget for sure, right? I don't see it going that low. Because it is dirt cheap when you divide it by 4 golfers. You can play this way cheaper than you can play around at a golf course. Councilor Martins?
I was initially going to ask, just for the sake of accessibility, we're going to have a different rate for maybe seniors, elders, or youth, but I think you've addressed that because how do you account for that? In her example, you've got a senior and a youth, so I'll leave that question because I think that you also mentioned that this is a, introductory, come check it out kind of rate. The second question I had, and perhaps it was touched upon before, I recall her saying something like X years, but David, do you have any idea of what the break-even point is with the current?
No, we spent 46,000 for the machine. Well, we will see, somebody did work it out. I think you had it on a tissue paper, but $32 times.
Because it is planned to be open first thing in the morning when the arena staff get there like 9, and it'll be open till 10 at night. So it's almost open 12 hours a day. And I think that it's going to be pretty booked for all of those hours, because poor people will go in and book it for 2-3 hours at a time, because it's affordable.
So what was that calculation then?
I can't remember. I did it really quick at the meeting.
I'm just seeing
But you can figure it out, right? Like you get even 10 spots, 10 hours at $32. That's not using all of the spots, but that's $320 a day, and it's open 7 days a week. So, all of a sudden, you have $2,100 a week. You've got, call it $8,000 a month coming in.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I kind of had that rough math, but the thing is, the variables for me or my questions were, what kind of staffing is there? Additional, is it existing staff, or there,
Existing stuff.
Okay, so no additional hours or.
And, depending on the success, if it is successful, we'll even look at a second golf simulator down the road. I mean, our manager of recreation has done a great job generating additional revenue. And this will bring in additional revenue above the cost of operating. And eventually, in short order, I anticipate it'll pay for the capital cost of the machine. And then it's free and clear, basically, going forward. So this is a good enterprise and a very affordable for everybody in the community.
The other thing I'll just mention is that it they've purchased the rights to use an app so that you can register for your times online, and everything's done online. So it sort of goes to your question of what's the staffing requirement. You register for your tee times online and you pay for your fees online. So the staff at the arena don't have to touch anything. And they'll know who's booked it, when they booked it, so that they can be there to sort of meet them and make sure they're getting started correctly. And that's the intent there, is make it as easy as possible.
So where is it?
It's in the Performing Arts Center of the Gordon Buchanan Center. It's on that stage area, and they can, like, there's an event going on there, like a dance camp happening, and they're going to pull the curtain across, and then they're going to dance on where the tables or the seats normally are upcoming. So you can, right now, you can still use that for some other events. and it's pushed right up against the back wall in there.
Well worth taking a look at, especially when it gets, when you see it up and running. Right now, it's running off of hotspot, somebody's cell phone, an employee's cell phone, and we're trying to get the Wi-Fi strong enough to support such a program.
The other thing to mention is that, again, this is sort of going to that rec committee. This fee is going to the Big Lakes County Council tomorrow for their approval also, because we have to agree that this is what we want to charge, because it is a budgetary item. Okay, any other discussion on this? We have the motion to adopt the $30 per hour fee. All in favor? It's carried. Alberta Munis Conference and Trade Show registration.
Oh, sending them an invite.
Well, no, I'm seeing in here, there's no RFD per se in this. There's no RFD. And I think we can just say for the purpose of this, that we'll receive this for information. I'll make that motion to receive it for information, because all it's saying is that, you know, the county is going to invite one of our counselors and the CAO to RMA, and we'll invite one of their counselors and their CAO to Alberta Munis Conference. That's all it's saying. And we've been doing that ever since I've been on council, so it's been ongoing for years.
Okay. It's just wanted on radar.
Yeah, it's on the radar. Any other discussion on this?
No.
All in favor? Carried. Town-owned lots request to use as memorial area.
Yeah, this is really my written report to council. And we can deal with it now if you want, or we can just punt it to the end.
Well, is there a motion that needs to be made on this?
Not really, I mean, this is just the,
Again, there's no RFD on this.
yeah,
I think if there's a motion to be made, I would like to have RFD on it.
yeah. Yeah, this was just meant to be, well, this was my, written report for council.
Oh, okay. So,
Hang on a second. What are we doing? We don't have the, okay, so we don't have paper plan. Yeah, okay, so, and we talked about this yesterday at the, rec meeting there a little bit too. I really want to see arboretum of some sort for, where people can plant a tree in memory of loved one who's passed. And I know that when I first brought this up, I had mentioned a good spot to put it would be, or a possible spot.
Can we get some motion or
can
something?
I get an RFD on that?
Yeah.
Like, I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
I'd
okay.
like to see this come in a formal way, and then we can have a discussion where everything's
Yeah,
going the same way.
All right, yeah, so then, yeah, we'll do it the next meeting.
Yeah, and we'll put an RFD on that specific issue.
Okay,
Just give me a little more information.
yeah, I'll sit down.
Okay, so for the purposes of this, basically, we're not really dealing with it. And there's no RFD. Do we need a motion just, or,
Notice a motion that,
well, you'll bring that,
if I do notice a motion now, that's just that I'm gonna bring a motion forward to have a town lot used as a memorial, tree memorial, arboretum.
but we don't need to have that in our minutes that you're gonna bring that forward.
I think that's how it's done, if you get a notice of motion. It's a thing.
And I'm gonna make it a thing.
I mean, normally, if you have a request, you go to the CAO and you say, this is what I'd like to get on the agenda, like that.
There was a miscommunication between David and I, is what happened.
Yeah.
So,
So I guess I'm looking at, what do we do for this?
We receive it as his written report.
well, the next part is the is the written report. There's two on there. There's 8.4 and then 8.5. Right? 8.4 is the one,
There's no numbers on any of these.
Page 32.
yeah. So there's two things there.
But it's just a written report.
That's all
This
there
isn't-
Yes, I know, but on this, on the agenda,
Oh, right, there's two items.
there's two items. So 8.4.
Yeah.
I'll put as a notice of motion that I'm gonna bring forward a motion to set aside some town land to use as a memorial arboretum.
Okay,
So that's
it, let's deal.
that.
Okay, we can, I mean, I don't know if we need to do that, but to
No.
deal with it, we could. I mean, the other way we could do this is just say, we're gonna receive this report for information.
Yeah.
And then if you want to make a formal, RFD or a request, then you can, or notice a motion, put it in. If you change your mind, don't put it, right?
Yeah, whatever.
So I think it's easier just to receive this for information.
8.4.
Yeah.
Okay,
Any other discussion on that? All in favor? Carried, 8.5.
is my written report to council. So if you want to put that to the end, you can do that, or you can deal with it now.
Yeah, but it's in the agenda. We'll just say at this point, we'll receive it for information
Yeah,
and then we'll,
all right, yeah, all right, so I will move my written report for information.
No.
this is the grants funds town cleanup museum issues, right?
This is why this was part of my written report, right?
Oh.
That's why I submitted it as such.
Just accept it for information.
Yeah, And
James,
move on.
for
Yeah.
the next agenda, get 2 RFDs made up. So it's formal and it's in the agenda like it's supposed to be, so we have something to discuss with pertinent information and
And we'll deal with your report at the end. And we'll ask questions, that sort of thing, when it's that time in the agenda. So you're moving it for information?
Sure.
All in favor? Carried. The addition was the election bylaw, and I'll let our CEO speak on this.
Yes. I've been reading through the Local Authorities Election Act and just trying to make sure all the Ts are crossed and Is are dotted. And there was, I happened to look at bylaw 01/2025, which is our election bylaw. And on February 25th, just let me.
Can you mic thing?
Here, got it here. February 25th. Council approved the election bylaw. However, the minutes did not reflect approval of first or second readings. Plus, the third reading was supposed to be March 11th. But on March 11th agenda, it didn't get on the agenda and there wasn't a third reading. So what we need to do, what I'm proposing to do is for us to have the first, second, and third final readings tonight. And so that we can sign the bylaw and have it in effect.
But this is different from what was originally presented and approved.
I don't think so.
Yeah, there was deposits and all kinds of things that went with it.
No,
No,
we took all that out.
We took that, we did, the earlier, there was an earlier January 28th and February 11th, they asked for, council asked for revisions, amendments, which was made by February 25th. And that's what happened.
I recall up until yesterday it was $50 plus the criminal check. I'm also surprised by the zero deposit. I thought it was $50 a little. We have to go look back because
Yeah, I know.
sure I
it
had.
does say 50 in the package.
Yeah, it
Plus the
does.
criminal record check.
That's right. But it was on our website also because that came up yesterday and I've seen it before and.
Right. Right.
So this is a.
Because speaking of the section, because you, Brian, you had brought that up, saying this says that. But Dave Reynolds from the county said that doesn't retain because the bylaw wasn't passed within 180 days of the election.
It was December 31st. You had to have made the motion before.
Right, at December 31st.
In the criminal check, yeah. So
Right.
that's not part of this.
Okay, that's not part of this. Okay.
But again, and it should be noted that, has it been taken off the website? Yeah, good. Because it is kind of like, when I was looking at that, I went, well, you get a criminal record check, who decides what's good, what's not, what can you disclose for privacy issues? There's a whole bunch of issues with that now, right? If we're not asking for it, all of those, and
But technically you can't. It's not in the MGA or in Alberta Munis. You cannot ask for a criminal record check.
And we aren't here.
I believe under the new Elections Act, you can.
Nope.
I know that, I've heard, I don't know, that others are asking for it.
They can't. There is no.
I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions around, did we get a motion on this? No. Anybody want to make a motion for first reading? Counselor Dunn,
I make a motion that we give this first reading on this 12th day of August, 2025.
I would like 100% guarantee that there is not already a bylaw in place. That we don't have to repeal something before we add this in. So for sure, there is no bylaw.
There's no bylaw in place.
Because we didn't give it third reading.
We didn't give a third reading. And we have no record of a first or second reading. And the video from the February 25th council meeting is non-existent. So the system wasn't working then.
But what do the minutes reflect?
They just reflect that council approved bylaw 01-2025. That's it. But there's no record of any first, second, or third, or final reading. So this is a formality tonight.
now this bylaw 01-2025 would have been the same bylaw that would have been passed at that February, because that's the first bylaw in 2025.
Yeah, that's why I mean, do we have to repeal something
There's
before
nothing
we
to
put this
repeal.
in?
Yeah, it wasn't properly recorded is the bottom line. We probably went through this process and gave it first, second, and third reading on that date, but it wasn't recorded in the minutes. And we didn't catch that in the
Previous.
minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Just to answer your question, Judy, I looked it up and this was changed under Bill 20 on the October 31st, 2024, criminal record checks can be done for the upcoming election.
Correct.
It's in your bylaw.
Correct. By December 31st. if we-
Yes.
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 So they can be asked for. All right, we have the motion to give it first reading. Any other discussion on this? All in favor? All right, and it's carries second reading, anyone?
Oh,
Okay. All in favor? Go ahead, Councilor.
I just have a question.
Okay. Well, we should have a motion so we can talk about it. I'm gonna make the motion that we proceed to third and final reading.
No, you need unanimous consent.
That's
Yes.
what I'm making, I'm
That's-
making the motion, we go to third and final reading, given unanimous approval. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor, now we can have more discussion, that's all I was getting. Go ahead, Councilor Martin, you got a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering if these provisions are the exact same as the 4 years ago, are these provisions the same dated, or has anything
From
changed?
4 years ago? I don't know. But what was presented February 11th to council, and council discussed what they wanted to take out or amend, and those revisions were made for February 28th. So I assume there might be some minor changes or, you know, from 4 years ago, but I didn't look back 4 years ago. I just had what we had in front of us, and it was probably highly likely copied from 4 years ago, from which council asked for revisions and amendments, which was done, and this is the final version.
Okay,
And just to, you were asking about the criminal record check. The only thing that can be redacted is the mailing address. And the official address, and then the address of your official agent. That's the only thing that can be redacted on a criminal record check, and it has to be made available if asked for.
If you pass the bylaw,
If you pass the bylaw, which we did.
which we didn't, so
We're not required to,
it's a.
we're not required to have the criminal record check, but that just so.
Yep.
You know, for future reference, if, you know, you're putting it all out there.
okay, the motion is to approve. If we get unanimous approval, we could go to third and final reading. Any other discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Anybody want to bring this one home?
You may find it.
Grace? Okay. Teresa's making third and final reading. All in favor? I'm going to suggest that we take a 10-minute comfort break.
That's good, yeah.
Sorry, just been a real shitty month
Same.
that I blew up in my work.
One of the things, anything that comes in, we should